quoted in Dr. Moore's book, where he spoke of perilous ditches on either side of the Christian pathway. And he warns us to avoid them. Avoid the extreme. I am not a fanatic. I don't even like fanatics.
Today's scenario is going to simulate meetings of a multi-stakeholder group called the Pandemic Emergency Board.
We're at the start of what's looking like it will be a severe pandemic.
And maybe this is a time for us to showcase some cases where we are able to bring forward some bad actors and leave it before the courts to decide whether they have actually spread some fake news.
A significant demand for personal protective equipment like N95 masks and gloves are on the rise.
In the morning, the sensitivity to sound and light were still there, and that was the last day that I taught.
The patient suffered from a rare spinal inflammatory disorder.
The world saw large-scale protests and in some places riots. This led to violent crackdowns in some countries and even martial law.
Penalties have been put in place for spreading harmful falsehoods, including arrest.
Professional friend of mine called me long distance, and in an almost desperate tone he said, "Charles, I want my church back."
Welcome to Mount Carmel Ministries. We invite you to join us on an inspiring journey as we go into all corners of the world. Together, we spread messages of hope and salvation, making disciples of all nations and baptizing them in the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. God has given us a mission, and that mission is to reach out and connect with those in need of Jesus. Join us on our mission for souls.
So happy Sabbath to everybody. We're here. We're about to get into this program. We're not going to take too long because there's a lot to talk about. Sit back, relax. Let's have a good time on this podcast. All right, gentlemen. We're going to be talking about one thing that is very important to us that we've learned in the past couple of years. Vaccinations. Is it okay to be vaccinated? And what vaccines are okay? We're going to look at the plan, the demic, and then we're going to react to a lot of the folks who have been suffering since vaccines have been issued. Pastor Green, I know you've been talking about this for a while, and from the church's perspective, being that many of us have taken this, what have you heard and what have you seen out there where people have been suffering in the church today? And from a political standpoint, Alvin, we're going to be looking at, how this is going to affect us going forward, and from a religious standpoint, where, Jamal, this leads into the mark of the beast, right? So let's get into this right now. What I'm going to show you guys here is a little bit of this pandemic video. Not too sure if you've seen this before, Alvin. So no. Take a look at this, and it's going to be you should be wowed. Here we go.
On behalf of our center and our partners, the World Economic Forum and the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, I'd like to extend a very warm welcome to our audience here in New York, as well as our larger virtual audience participating online today. The Event 201 scenario is fictional. Today's scenario is going to simulate meetings of a multi-stakeholder group called the Pandemic Emergency Board.
We're at the start of what's looking like it will be a severe pandemic. And there are problems emerging that can only be solved by global business and governments working together.
There's been some conspiracy theories that are around about the potential that pharmaceutical companies or the UN have released this for their own benefit.
And maybe this is a time for us to showcase some cases where we are able to bring forward some bad actors and leave it before the courts to decide whether they have actually spread some fake news.
A new coronavirus. Infected people got a respiratory illness with symptoms ranging from mild flu-like signs to severe pneumonia.
In related news, a significant demand for personal protective equipment like N95 masks and gloves are on the rise. Patients are overwhelming healthcare facilities. People are avoiding public spaces out of fear of infection and in compliance with public health recommendations. Our U.S. affiliate has just released polling results on public expectations for a vaccine, and 65% of those polled are eager to take the vaccine, even if it's experimental.
I am not optimistic about having a vaccine in time to be relevant during this pandemic.
With enough money and political will, anything is possible.
Penalties have been put in place for spreading harmful falsehoods, including arrests.
If the solution means controlling and reducing access to information, I think it's the right choice.
What exactly are the risks and benefits of staying home from work? Absolutely, we need to save lives, but we literally cannot afford a heavy-handed response that suffocates our economy.
The world saw large-scale protests and in some places riots. This led to violent crackdowns in some countries and even martial law. The public lost trust in their respective administration. Economists say the economic turmoil caused by such a pandemic will last for years. The societal impacts, the loss of faith in government, the distrust of news, and the breakdown of social cohesion could last even longer. We have to ask, did this need to be so bad?
So, what are your thoughts? What do you guys think? Hearing this for the first time, what do you guys garner from that?
I know we're going to go in order, but I just want to make a comment on that.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that was really filmed in 2019.
Yeah, that was the plan.
Jesus Christ,
that was the plan.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I wait my turn, but I just
no. You can jump right in. What are your thoughts?
I have an emotional reaction by watching that because it's almost like they staged the whole thing. If you're simulating it, and if you're thinking about it, that sounds and smells like a plan. You know, that's a script about to be executed at some point.
Correct.
You know, and it's incredible to even watch something like that.
Right.
Because the way that they coerced it or simulated it is exactly what happened.
It's a dress rehearsal. That's what it's called, a dress rehearsal. So they dress rehearsed the whole thing first. They made sure that they hit all the stages in terms of fake news, in terms of information, disinformation, malinformation. They touched on a lot of the areas that you're seeing today. So yes, this is exactly what that was. What you saw today was the plan. That was the plan. Wow. Your thoughts, Pastor Green?
Well, I mean, Goals 2000, part of their plan was for depopulation. You know, that's part of the overall plan. And these folks are so demonic, you know, that they actually feel that they're doing this in the best interests of mankind. That, you know, because they know that if they don't do something within the next 20, 25 years, the world is going to be, I mean, the population is going to double, you know, and they've done experiments, and I've done experiments myself with little amoebas, you know, with stagnated water. When I was a kid, I used to put them under the microscope and watch them multiply. And you would notice that the population, the community, every day became more and more congested. They would have certain paths that these little tiny microscopic little amoebas would be flowing. I don't know if I'm calling them properly amoebas. But then the next time you look, I mean, it would be very, very populated. And then just one day later, they're all dead. Mm-hmm. And so they're basing their theory on saving the world by keeping what happened scientifically with microscopic, creatures or they feel that this is what's going to happen to the population of the world if they don't do something. But these folks are godless. They don't understand God's plan, and they feel that they have to do God's job.
Yeah. Jamal, your thoughts?
Well, first of all, it was 5 months before the real thing. So I mean, just by hearing all what they were saying, that it was being pre-planned. They called it Event 201 that turned into C19.
No, actually, no. Event 201 is the group that
that put it together.
Yeah, put it together.
I'm saying that put it together because they said that they were forming a pandemic board.
Right.
And they said they want to get all governments and all global companies together.
They did.
Which they did.
They did.
And so think about it. Global companies like who? Like Johnson & Johnson, like Pfizer, those are all big companies, pharmaceutical companies. This thing is.
You saw the Bill Gates and the Bill and Melinda Gates.
Yeah, yes, the Bill and Melinda Gates, and they said on during COVID, if you're not a doctor or have any type of credentials, we can't really speak on it. But what credentials does the Melinda Gates Foundation have? Not even the foundation, because I know they had doctors and stuff, but they be over there testing and stuff over in Africa on them Africans for supposedly malaria and all the stuff. But a lot of people were getting sick, where they kicked them out of their countries, man, because they tired of them putting, using them as lab rats, man.
Mm-hmm. I'm not the guy who's the biblical guy here. I know most of you guys are. I mean, but I'm just gonna say, I'm gonna point to the Bible actually if I want something about something. So this is almost like a dress rehearsal for a one world government.
Yes, it is, New World Order.
Because if you recall, during COVID, you had the United States of America coordinating with the European Union, coordinating with China, right? So there was a coercion between governments. So I guess I'm going back to politics here. There was an organized world coordination for dealing with COVID. They were all working in tandem with each other. Right. Yeah.
Well, that's goal number 3 out of the 17 sustainable goals. That's goal number 3 was the health, the vaccination health.
Well, they used that as a mechanism or an excuse to coordinate. You never seen governments ever coordinate like that before. Right. You never seen organizations all work in an absolute tandem, down to the street level that you have to stay in your house, right? Mercy. So there was something very ominous, sinister, and then you got guys like in the World Economic Forum in Switzerland, the what's his name? I think it's Klaus Schwab or something.
Yeah.
Those Klaus, right?
Yeah.
If I'm wrong about that, please edit the video. I mean, I don't know if it's It is Klaus.
Schwab. Yep.
Yeah, Schwab.
Because he wrote that book. Because I have the book at home. On the pandemic. It's I forgot the name of the book, but yeah. But that's
my point is that he was like a superstar during the time of COVID. That he was somebody that came in more into the foreground. So my whole point is there was a global governmental coordination during COVID, period. Regardless whether it was a health pandemic or something in that nature. And, and this reads straight out of the Bible, I mean, I wouldn't say that was the actual tribulations, but it's definitely a prelude to a tribulation-like situation. A one world government is exactly what the enemy wants. Because if you have a one world government, you take it over, you control the whole world.
That's the whole point. Pastor Green, how do you then say, then what would be the, or who would be behind this then? Because what Alvin just spotted out is spot on. I mean, you think of a one world government being exactly what that is. Somebody somewhere is doing the dirty work of bringing all the world together. So who's behind it? You would say?
Well, I mean, we already have it outlined by Pope Francis, right? When he wrote his encyclical letter, the Laudato Si, all of that was outlined in his letter, and he was pretty much, spoke to both houses of Congress. He told the business sector, this is what you're going to do, get on board. And if you don't get on board, he gave them conditions of what was going to happen. And the only entity that could really pull something like this off would be the Roman Catholic Church, because the Roman Catholic Church has taken over governments all over the world. And they've even, eventually they took over the United States. They're in control of the Supreme Court. Most of our Supreme Court judges are Roman Catholic, at least I would say 70 or 80%, and the other ones are in conjunction with, the papacy. And so even when it comes to climate change and all of that, you can make it appear as if there's an epidemic globally, but epidemics, they don't operate like that. They don't operate globally. You may have
epidemics are smaller, right?
They're smaller. You may have a pocket here, a pocket there, but you don't have it globally. No. Yeah. The only power that could pull off a global epidemic is the Roman Catholic Church.
But this was a pandemic.
A pandemic.
Which was a lot global.
Yeah.
More so than an epidemic, which is a lot more controlled.
Regional. Yeah. It's a regional, small.
It's smaller.
Yeah.
Right. So they pull this thing off with precision. I believe, like I've always, we've always said before, the devil has to tell us what he's planning to do.
Absolutely.
Because the way God has worked with him, look at Job.
Yeah.
Right? In the book of Job, the devil comes to Job, the devil comes to God, speaks about,
Job.
Well, God speaks about Job.
Yeah, he said, have you considered my servant?
Exactly. And the plan is to hurt Job in a way.
But don't kill him.
Yeah. Right? But Satan had a plan.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? And he has to let God know what his plans are.
Yeah.
Because he's dealing with God's people.
That's right.
Regardless, he's dealing with human nature. So he just can't touch human nature the way he wants to.
He said, take everything from him and he'll curse you to his face. That's what Satan said to God.
Exactly.
He said, take everything from him.
He still has to follow orders. You know what I mean?
Most definitely.
But what goes on in, among nations is just a microcosm of what goes on in the cosmic realm between the forces of evil and the forces of good. There are rules of engagement. When nations get together, they lay out, exactly what you can do, what you can't do, and you have to abide by those rules. Right. And in heaven, they have rules of engagement. It's almost like, the rules of engagement is, if the people down here, we are pawns. We are the stakes of between the forces of evil and the forces of good. If you don't ask for help, you don't get help.
Right.
Because I believe that there are situations where God's angels are willing to come down to intervene, but the plan is, that there are certain rules. You don't interfere. If the person doesn't ask for help, the angels can only go so far because there are certain rules.
Yeah, and to think about it this way, most of us, when we see things like this, we don't understand the workings outside of our realm, right? Again, Satan cannot touch us unless God knows about it. The plan that they provided, they had to put out there. They had to tell what was coming. The only thing is that many of us didn't pay attention.
Well,
didn't pay attention. Whose fault is that?
That's our fault.
Our fault.
It's almost like the commercials when they have those pharmaceutical commercials that haven't really been tested like that, but they put the small little writing in the bottom.
Right.
And they tell you that it has these side effects. Sometimes they even talk fast, but you really can't understand them.
Yeah.
But as long as that, whether you can't read it or not, it doesn't matter. It's there.
Fine print.
The fine print is there.
Fine print.
Whether you can't read it, that's not our problem. It's there.
Right.
And that's what the devil does. He mixes entertainment with this right here is God's word. It's the truth. Satan has his Bible is entertainment. He uses entertainment media to give to present
tell his story.
Because he has to present it.
Correct.
But I'm gonna give you Bible right now. What God said that the devil's gonna do, because it's a chess game, man. Without being a chess game, the Bible says in Revelation chapter 13, verse 15, it says, "And he had power to give life unto the image of the beast, that the image of the beast should both speak and cause." The word "cause" means force. That as many as would not worship the image of the beast should be killed. And And he causeth, which means he forces all, both small, great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark in their right hand or in their foreheads. In verse 17, and that no man might buy or sell, save he that had the mark or the name of the beast or the number of his name. So people always say, well, it's mark of the beast is a computer chip. First of all, I always tell people you have to find out what the mark is before you can even find out who the beast is before you understand who what the mark is.
That is correct.
You know what I'm saying? So it says his. So it actually be a man. The Bible says his name.
Right.
And it says his number is 666. And it said no computer. It was 666. His is not a computer.
So there's a pronoun.
Now.
And it says it's the number of a man.
Now.
That's right. It gives you.
Is this stuff connected to the mark of the beast? Yes. It is connected to it, but it's not the mark of the beast.
Correct.
And the thing about it, the devil doesn't have any power unless he works through people, nations, kingdoms, empires. That's how he operates. I mean, just like the demoniac of Capernaum, when Jesus came along and he cast out the demonic spirits, they ask if we can be transferred into a herd of swine. And so the demons were cast out. They got into the animals, got into the swine. The swine went down the bank and into the river and they drowned. And then those spirits were released. They have to get in people in order to operate. That's why when King Saul was told to wipe out the Amalekites, because he did not wipe out the Amalekites eventually killed King Saul. But God told King Saul, kill everything. Kill livestock, kill the children, because these demonic spirits, if you don't kill the animals, they will get in. There was a movie that Denzel Washington, Fallen.
Yes.
And remember, the demonic went from person to person to person. And then finally, it got into Denzel. And as he was dying, a cat came along. And then the demonic spirit got in the cat. And so it lived on. That's why God said, you got to wipe out everything in order to keep these demonic spirits, release them so they have no power. And that's why, as you were saying, Jamal, in Revelation chapter 13, where it talks about that first beast, that first beast represents the papacy.
That's right.
The papacy, we are told in Revelation chapter 12 that the dragon, which is the devil, gave that first beast its power, its seat, and great authority.
That's right.
And if you notice, that first beast is made up of what animals?
A dragon.
A dragon is a nondescript beast. A lion. What else? A bear. And what else?
And a leopard.
A leopard. Those are the nations that in Daniel chapter 7, where it says that, the first beast was a what? Babylon, represented by a lion. The second beast was represented by what? A bear. And the third beast was represented by a leopard. See, that...
Jeremiah says... Jeremiah says, "Can a leopard change its spot in Ethiopian skin?" So, it don't change. So I just want to confirm what you're saying. That's a fact. Go ahead.
Yeah. So what I'm saying is that Satan works through empires. He worked through Babylon, and then the scepter of power passed to the bear, the Persian Empire, and when Persia was defeated, the scepter of power passed, to the Grecian Empire, and from the Grecian Empire, the scepter of power of Satan. Satan works through these demonic empires, and he works through people. And even with Adam, when Adam sinned, the scepter of power passed to Satan.
That's right.
That's why he showed up, like in Job, and said, well, I'm the representative of planet Earth. The people down here do what I tell them to do.
It's supposed to have been Adam there. But Adam failed. He failed us.
He should have been. He should have been the one that was ruler.
That's right.
But the scepter of power passed from Adam to Satan.
That's right. But just to back up what Pastor Green is saying, it goes back to what I said, entertainment, how entertainment, Satan's Bible, he used the movie Falling. There was demons going to people. That's what's really happening today.
Well, Jamal, you had an experience just a little while ago.
Yesterday, we had that experience. Yesterday.
Yeah, had to cast out a devil.
Yes.
Yeah.
The thing is that when you look at it, it needs a host.
Yeah.
It needs a host.
Oh, they absolutely need a host, and because they're disembodied spirits. They're not part of the material world. They're spiritual beings. And actually, it's funny how you guys kind of led me to where I'm going to take you, because Who remembers Psalm 82, the divine council?
Correct. Yes.
Right?
Yes.
So we're dealing with a council of spiritual beings having a discussion on earthly affairs. A lot of these spiritual beings are what you and I call in the Bible principalities.
Right.
That's right.
Right?
Right.
They're the
High
rulers.
places.
Right. High places.
Yeah,
The
we're not
rulers of the-
fighting against flesh and blood.
That's correct.
Yeah.
We're fighting against spiritual beings.
Right.
Beings in high places, principalities. They're not human. You're fighting a spiritual war.
Warfare.
That's why we got to put on armor.
Correct.
So
This isn't a wrestling match.
No.
We're not wrestling.
You're not going to fight them physically.
You don't need
Can I read it?
armor like God describes to go wrestling. This is a spiritual battle.
Correct.
Put on the helmet. Put on the breastplate.
The
of
breastplate.
righteousness.
Yep. Can I read it? I'm already
You
there.
read Psalms 82?
No. Ephesians 6, 11. Was it 11 through
10.
Yeah, 10. It says, finally, my brethren, be strong in the Lord and the power of his might. Verse 11, put on the whole armor of God that ye may be able to stand against the wiles of the devil. It says right here, for we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities, against powers, against rulers of the darkness of this world, against spiritual wickedness in high places. Wherefore take unto you the whole armor of God, that you may be able to withstand in the evil day, and having done all to stand.
Stand.
You stand. Stand therefore, having your loins girt about with truth, and having on the breastplate of righteousness, Pastor Green said, and your feet shod with, because that's walking in, and that represents walking into righteousness, walking into the right path, and walking into the light
with the gospel of peace.
The gospel of peace. Above all, taking the shield of faith, wherewith that's your buckler. So you have the breastplate. You got the helmet, which protects the mind. The battle's over the mind. The breastplate, which protects the heart. Then you got the feet shields that protect where you walk, that you walk into the light, and then you got the buckler to block the devil's fiery dots. You know what I'm saying?
So it's pretty much the entire armor. But my question to you,
go ahead,
Alvin,
is this: do you think that this event 201?
Okay,
you guys are talking about spiritual warfare.
Yep.
But the spiritual. In the spiritual aspect, they don't come out to do what the agenda is, right? They use humans to do the work. So the council in which you talked about in Psalms 82, they had a council in October.
At the human level.
At the human level, that same council is being run by the darkness, the principalities of this world, but they're using humans to bring out the agenda. Because if you understand this, COVID-19 needed a host. It needed a host.
Yep.
And it jumped from one to the next. You guys used the movie Fallen, where the demon needed a host. Right?
Even the pigs. When the pigs went into, they jumped into the pigs.
It's on my side.
Right.
Yep.
Yes.
I got time.
On my side.
That was freaky.
Singing,
that was very demonic.
All the time in the world.
Yeah.
You'll jump from host to host.
Absolutely.
Right. So that's what I'm saying. They're using the council came together, brought out the agenda, right? To make sure the demonic
I see where you're going.
power
That's
that they're spreading out across the world is jumping from host to host. Satan made sure the plan that he has, because if you heard what the lady said, that the consequences for not doing this or not taking the vaccine was also included being arrested.
So can I throw a little Old Testament here? Nothing's new under the sun, right?
Absolutely.
I'll show you. If you go back to the good book, let's go back to the Tower of Babel. You want one world government?
That's a one world government.
That's what it was.
Yes.
God does not like one world government.
No.
He does not like it.
That's right.
That's why he destroyed it.
Because
That's why
it
he spread
compounds evil.
It compounds human power in one place for that possession, that demonic.
And what did he say?
It's very easy not to take over humanity if you have a unified human race.
And what did he say? They're of one what?
Mind.
One mind and one language.
Yes.
Once you
guys come together under one accord, with one language. You're speaking the same thing. We may be speaking the different language today.
Well, today we'll speak English. I mean, I go to Europe, I go everywhere, we all can speak English.
Right. But I'm saying the it's not just the language or the tongue, it's more so the principle. We're like-minded.
You got it.
And if we're like-minded all together, no one can stop the human race when we come together being like-minded.
But easy to be taken over. So here's
easy to be controlled.
Here's the weird part, because I don't want to confuse viewers on one thing. It's not that God hates us becoming one body one day, but through his leadership.
Absolutely.
In New Jerusalem.
Absolutely.
Right? But not by our own accord.
Yeah.
By our own accord, we're susceptible to demonic possession.
Correct.
By our own accord, we're susceptible by the enemy taking us over.
Yeah.
So yes, one human body under God is okay. One human body under human control, not okay. Right? And that's written.
But then what makes it so demonic is that the 2025 agenda, the Heritage Group, they feel that they are bringing the world together under the auspices of God's leadership and power. But actually, it's the very opposite of that.
Right.
It's the very opposite. It is not a godly movement. It is Satan spearheading it.
Correct.
Because Rome controls all of these other Protestant organizations. And they don't even... Rome has infiltrated every major institution, whether it's a church, whether it's a business, and bringing all of these entities together. And people think that this movement is a godly movement, but it's under the control of the devil. And
but isn't that what the Bible says, that they'll persecute us, believing that they're
doing the will of God.
That's right.
So yes, they believe that this is a godly movement. Understand that's what the false revivals are for.
Yeah.
Right? Understand that. Now, getting back to this CV19, this jibby jabber, this whatever you want to call it.
I like that word.
Let's get back to that really quickly, because what I want to share here is exactly the mode of what they're going to continue to show in this script.
On May 4th, 2020, as part of a documentary series called Plandemic, I released an interview featuring science whistleblower, Dr. Judy Mikovits. The interview received fierce backlash for spreading what the media declared dangerous conspiracy theories. As a father and a veteran media producer, there is no way that I would release harmful information into the world during a moment as vulnerable as now. I had known Dr. Judy for 2 years before filming her interview. I read her book, then thoroughly researched and vetted her story. After interviewing her legal team, former colleagues, and people who have known her for decades, one thing I can say without question is, Judy Mikovits is one of the most honest, caring, and courageous women I've ever known. Why then would the most powerful forces of big tech, politics, media, and medicine go to such extreme measures to silence her voice all over the world? And why did all of the debunkers invest so much ink and airtime defaming Dr. Judy's character while avoiding very real revelations pertaining to patents, conflicts of interest, and the deadly corruption pervading our global health organizations? To get to the bottom of these questions, as well as many others, I've spent the last several weeks interviewing scholars from all over the world, among them top doctors, distinguished scientists, and Nobel laureates. I also sat down with Dr. Judy for a follow-up interview and to give her the opportunity to respond to critics. You can see that full interview on the Plandemic website.
So I'm going to say this.
Plandemic. I like the name.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yep.
Sounds like Pastor Cuke, huh?
Yeah.
I'm going to say this. I went down the rabbit hole.
Oh, wow.
And I've got a whole lot of information.
It's ugly.
It's ugly. Now,
yeah, I did too.
Now, one thing about this gentleman and the doctors that he interviewed, a third of them are dead.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
A third of them are dead. Believe me, and I'm telling you right now.
Killed them, man.
Absolutely.
They got rid of them.
Yeah.
They got rid of them because their voices started getting louder
Yeah.
and louder and louder. And they made sure the person that he interviewed, Dr.
Garrett.
No, Mikovits, the lady. She worked for Fauci.
Oh.
In the 80s.
Oh, wow.
She worked on what we call the AIDS pandemic.
Yeah.
With Dr. Fauci. That's the reason why she became the world's whistleblower. And when you are the whistleblower and the agenda has to be set, remember what you saw in the beginning, that they had everything planned out. You could not go against this. The media could not go against this. Everybody had to be on the same accord, even the president himself.
Yeah.
Can I speak on that?
Yes.
Because during that time of COVID, we was in Ottawa, Tennessee. We was the only first black clinic that was testing. We tested all the Southern University. And the government still owe us. They still owe us $12 million. They still owe us $12 million because they shut everything off. That's why a lot of clinics went under during that time. But they had hydrochloroquine. Yep. They took it off the shelf because it was hailing people from COVID because they wanted people to take the vax. You know what I'm saying? So they took it off the shelf. So any doctor who, all scientists had credentials, and they was for hydrochloroquine. Like there was this black African doctor. And I think she was in Florida. She was giving her patients hydrochloroquine and it was hailing them. It was killing the COVID immediately. But they didn't like that, man. They threatened her job. They took her job, and man, it just shows you that they, like you said, like they have to push the agenda. Let me just read this real quick because what we just saw is right here in the Bible. It's in the Old Testament too. Remember, Daniel foretells the future.
Yeah,
that's why Daniel Revelation tells
prophecy.
It's prophecy.
Correct.
Daniel tells the future. Revelation. That's why they go hand in hand. Revelation tells the past and tells Daniel's time, and it says past and future. Right. It says right here. And a lot of us overlook. We always look at Daniel 11 verse 40 when it's talking about the end shall come of the kingdom of the south. But let's start with verse 38 and 39 that we kind of overlook. It says, but in his Daniel 11 verse 38, but in his estate shall he honor the God of forces and God of whom lowercase g who has fathers knew not shall be honored with the gold and silver and with the precious stones and pleasant things. Now watch 39. Thus shall he do in the most strongholds with a strange God, whom shall acknowledge and increase his glory, and he shall cause, which means force, just like Revelation, cause them to rule over many and shall divide the lands for gain.
Right.
For money. And that's what that's what we saw with this pandemic.
So
it was all, I'm sorry, Bill Gates. He got over $200 billion more for pushing that the jibber jabber. Go ahead, brother.
I love that word. Yeah, I can jibber jabber.
Yeah.
So let's go back to COVID. Let's go back to 2020 and till the whole thing fell apart. Couple of fun facts, right? Just for the show, right? So not everywhere in the world is shut down. For example, Sweden, it was completely open.
Sweden was completely open.
Completely open. If you were elderly, you were quarantined, but all the younger people, whatever, they went to cafes, went to restaurants. But I'm going to throw the United States at you a little bit. Florida
was open.
Tennessee, right? So under their theory, if the infection rates were like they were in New York, as an example, where people were more sequestered in their homes, they couldn't go anywhere, it was much higher in New York than it was, let's say, in Tennessee or Florida or Sweden.
Draconian states.
Right? So people being out in the open, right, did better on COVID than they did in closed situations.
Yeah, in lockdown.
Okay? A lot of folks here in Tennessee, because I came here to Tennessee in 2021, I'm sorry. 2021. I left because, taxes, but COVID was a big deal because they were shutting everything down. I didn't want to take the shot. You couldn't go to a restaurant in New York, if you guys remember or may not remember. It was horrible, right?
Yeah, it was horrible.
So here I was going to restaurants, everything was fine. I hate to say this, I never had COVID. I never had COVID symptoms. I never had COVID.
You a type O guy.
Yeah. I'm O positive.
Yes,
but
you're O positive.
Yeah.
Your blood type is the blood type that everybody needs.
It's the original blood type, by the way.
Yeah.
It's a long story.
That's why you're the original Jew.
There you go. But here's the deal. I had no COVID. I walked freely. I did not see people just dropping like flies all over Tennessee, right? it seemed that if you were in an enclosed space, it was worse. But that's not the point.
The bigger the cities, the more enclosed.
The more, close to people and so forth. Okay. But the point I'm trying to make, right, is that they never took into account herd immunity. It was just went out the window.
Yeah.
All diseases have
herd immunity.
Right? So the Swedes were sound-minded people, and they say, no, this is nuts, right? Now, one of the things that made me a little more paranoid, and it came out later on, again, Fauci comes out again, was the fact that there was a connection between the U.S. government and the Wuhan lab.
Yes.
Right? So this whole thing about the bat defecating on the pendulum and then in the wet market, and it just got out of control, like out of a bad outbreak movie, that wasn't a fact. And they were pushing that agenda on CNN and all the news channels.
They pushed that thing so fast, I had done a documentary in the month of March of 2020.
So there was this lady that came out. It was one of the reasons why Tucker Carlson ended up getting kicked out. He had her on the show. She was from Hong Kong. She worked in the Wuhan lab. She was a whistleblower saying, no, I was in the lab. We were playing around with SARS and get out of control. And people said that, well, that's crazy. They try to bury that. And later on, it all came out.
Right.
Wuhan was being funded by NIH through Fauci.
And it's still coming out.
Yeah, and it's still coming up.
Right.
So the point is, how can you trust the same people who told that big giant lie, right?
Yeah.
And then take the jibber jabber in your arm? It's the same people, right? So they're all full of crap. Is my point.
Yeah, and the thing about it, the SARS, the SARS virus, COVID is a derivative of the SARS virus.
Right.
That is the essence of it, and this is why
this was called SARS-2.
Yeah, but Lenny Horowitz, 25 years ago when I bought his book, Emerging Viruses, AIDS and Ebola. Now Horowitz is big in pharmaceutical. His family is tied in that.
Wow.
If anybody want to know about about what happened and gets the essence of it, Lenny Horowitz was talking about this guy by the name of Robert Gallo. Robert Gallo was the guy that got a contract from the government in order to begin to come up with this vaccine. I think it was polio vaccines. But he was warned all the way back in the early 60s that if he went forward on this vaccine thing, there would be an outbreak of leukemia and sarcoma and all of these blood diseases that we're experiencing today. But he got a contract with the vaccine program. And that's one of the reasons why early I stopped vaccinating my children and they're as healthy as they can be. But this thing about vaccines, he was talking about how, these vaccines was causing problems with, especially, it seemed to be targeting
children,
black males, to what was that?
Tuskegee experiment?
Well, you got the Tuskegee experiment, but what did he call Down syndrome and all of that?
So you got Down syndromes. You have what's the other?
Oh, autism.
Autism. Absolutely. Lenny Horowitz was giving warning about that. And then I was preaching on that years ago in my church about the dangers of vaccines. And I'm telling you, this one sister, she came and testified that her grandson, all of a sudden was diagnosed with autism. And I told her, I says, well, as she was leaving, I stopped and I says, did he get vaccinated recently? And she said, yes, a couple of weeks ago. And I said, well, that's what I was preaching about. I was giving warning about these vaccines and how they call autism in children.
Wow. I want to add to Pastor Green here because Pastor Green is the oldest among us here. I don't want to put it like that. But do you remember in your time even hearing the word autism back when you were a
Absolutely.
kid? You didn't even hear that stuff.
You didn't even hear about cancers the way we're hearing about it today. Wow. We didn't have a cancer epidemic. It wasn't until the vaccine program came in that all of a sudden that now you got an epidemic of cancers, all of these blood diseases. A matter of fact, when I was a kid, there was a lady that came into our community and she was vaccinating all of the children. And I'm telling you, that lady was scary to me. I mean, I knew that she was coming to the house. I was a little kid. I hid underneath my bed. And back then, those beds, they had like little screen nets. And I grabbed onto it, and they were literally pulling me out where I had to get vaccinated by this lady that came into the community. And then I was talking to my father about it. He said that they were doing that in the community in Alabama. He said when they would come along, my father said that his mother would take the children into the woods and hide from those folks. So this thing has been going on for a long, long time. So I stopped. I says, no more am I going to have my kids vaccinated, because you cannot trust these people. This depopulation program started a long, long time ago. It wasn't just within the early, 1900s. No, this thing, they've been trying to bring the population down for some time.
So it's funny that you touch on that point about bringing the population down, because that whole dialogue, actually, I'm going to give you where it came from. It came from Woodrow Wilson. It came from that's 1911.
Yeah.
So they've been planning, for example, the federal income tax. That's what came into effect, and they had a meeting in Jekyll's Island. You had a collection of the leaders of the world.
Absolutely.
The biggest bankers, and a lot of those guys were like Illuminati.
Absolutely. A matter of fact, the Rockefeller family in 1930 was given the task. They took control of the Food and Drug Administration.
Wow.
And the Rockefeller family was responsible for population control. That was given to them in right around 1930.
So they was the first billionaire in America, wasn't
absolutely.
It?
Yes.
Yeah. Matter of fact, the Rockefeller family funded the building, the materials, and the land for building the United Nations. The United Nations is the American branch of the Illuminati.
Wow.
Yeah, that's right.
Not only that, but the Rockefeller family were the ones that were responsible for building the Twin Towers in Manhattan.
Oh, wow.
It used to be nicknamed David and what's his brother's name? Nelson.
Yes.
Those towers used to be nicknamed David and Nelson. And then at the Club of Rome around 1980 something at the Club of Rome, that's when David Rockefeller said that if we're going to have a new world order, we have to move quickly, because if we don't move quickly, we're going to be set back 75, 70 or 100 years. He says there has to be a major catastrophe for the nations of the world to begin to move in the direction of a one world system. And then I was preaching a sermon about that. What kind of a catastrophe is he talking about? And I went through a plethora of possible things that might happen. And then when the Twin Towers were bombed at the alumni at Oakwood College alumni, I was walking around and this one brother came to me, said, Pastor Green, you predicted that this was going to happen. I said, what are you talking about? He says, when you were talking about David Rockefeller making that statement at the Club of Rome that there has to be a major catastrophe for the nations of the world to accept the New World Order. The Rockefeller family were tied in with this whole program of population control.
Yeah.
So let me add to population control. And I'm going to just play a mental game here. And if I'm wrong, you guys jump at me. But an observation. Have you noticed, and you're from 20 years past my time, I was more active, I was a young man in the 1970s. I was a little kid. I was a teenager in the 80s, right? But even in the 1970s and 80s, I didn't see so many obese people.
Yeah.
And in your time, Pastor Green, I'm assuming you never it was rare to see an overweight person, right?
The Food and Drug Administration is a joke.
Yeah.
Elvin. It's a joke.
Yeah.
They're not concerned about health.
No. Remember the pyramid in the 80s, the food pyramid, where they had the biggest chunk of the pyramid that you had to eat carbohydrates, sugars, basically.
They had milk and pizza and bread. They had the food
pyramid.
The food pyramid. I remember that in school.
They used to teach us that. Yeah, promote that. So they would say a sandwich was the highest grade of food you could eat because it has the vegetables, it has the meat, it has the grain. So
what about Wonder Bread? It makes you grow 12 ways.
Oh my God,
that was a joke.
That was a joke. I mean, that was poison on a loaf. I don't even think that was really even bread.
Yeah.
But I guess the point I'm trying to make, they've been working this thing with the food going back, beginning actually right after World War II. And you guys may remember this term. If you're old enough to remember this, Pastor Green, I know you're old enough to remember this. I'm old enough to remember the term enriched. Enriched foods.
Yes.
Remember
They took all the nutrients out of it.
That's correct.
They still have it. Enriched flour, enriched all type. Yeah.
Whenever you see the word enriched in foods, run from it. I mean, that is basically poison,
Yeah.
So why did they come up with this word enrich? It had to do with the war. Yeah. So they had to increase the calorie count on the food for the soldiers in World War II. So after the war, they should have just dropped the enriched. No, that's not what they did. They kept it.
When I was in Africa, man, I lost 10 pounds in 10 days, almost 10 pounds in 10 days just by eating their food because they didn't have.
It's organic.
It was organic and it wasn't. And they have all that.
No preservatives.
Preservatives in it. It's like American food. Has preservatives, and that's why I respect Kennedy. What he's doing now,
enriched.
That's
the preservatives. So you have a long shelf life.
But the thing that blew my mind was when I went to Korea and Japan. I mean, you see McDonald's, you find Kentucky Fried Chicken. I mean, they're everywhere. But one of the things that Margaret brought back from India, she brought me about 5 or 6 tubes of toothpaste that doesn't have fluoride in it.
I was just about to bring that up.
Yeah. Fluoride, you put something in your mouth. I mean, you put something in your nose, the olfactory nerve, all of that sends things directly to your brain. That's why it's dangerous to put fluoride turns people docile.
Yes.
In order to control a people, make them docile, put fluoride
in the toothpaste,
in the water, in the toothpaste.
It will sterilize you.
What do you need fluoride for in water?
And they pushed that hard in the 80s because he was a teenager in the 80s. I was a young kid in the 80s, but I was a teenager in the early 90s, and I remember those commercials. They're pushing fluoride. Crest was one of the biggest ones.
Oh, yeah, huge.
You know what I'm saying? They was pushing that thing with fluoride. Now, in my house, our toothpaste have no fluoride.
Praise the Lord.
Even our deodorants, they got the aluminum. That's why people having Alzheimer's and all that.
Yeah.
They're putting lead in the water. Be careful with those who are meat eaters. If you eat Kentucky Fried Chicken, it has mercury in it.
But that's what happened to Flint, Michigan. Remember when they pumped mercury in the water?
As I said, mercury,
Yeah, and one of the things that Judge Mathis got in trouble because I think it was at the funeral of Aretha Franklin, she told Mathis to tell the truth. And so at the funeral, I think Judge Mathis talked about Flint, Michigan. And when he did that, they came after Judge Mathis and they used, who was that person that always say, how you doing? Or what's her name? In other words, she attacked Judge Mathis to try to destroy his character. I'm trying to think about the woman. She was a television host person. I think her name was Williams. Was her last name Williams? Wendy
Williams.
Yeah,
Williams. She's a radio lady.
I know
New
that.
York. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Hot 97.
Yeah, but they blackball her too.
Yeah, they turned her against Judge Mathis to try to discredit him. But Judge Mathis has so much ammunition in his arsenal, he shut her down.
Wow.
But they will pit one celebrity against another when they're not flowing in the direction that they want them to go. But Judge Mathis exposed how people were killed in Flint, Michigan when they put that lead in the water.
It's lead and mercury. That's why they tell pregnant women not to eat seafood.
Seafood, correct.
Because there's lead and mercury in the water and it's going to affect the baby. Now, that right there should ring a bell right there.
Yeah.
But a lot of pregnant women won't ask that question. Well, why we can't eat seafood?
Yeah,
well, I ain't saying women hasn't done that. I'm saying
it's because of the high mercury count. But I just want to go back to fluorine for a second. So I studied chemistry. So one of the things that I would tell you about fluorine is the most reactive substance, not just on Earth, in the universe. If I took a drop of pure fluorine, it will melt right through that fluorine. You ever see the movie Aliens?
Yeah.
That's what fluorine can do. So fluorine is very reactive. It reacts with everything. So if you increase the count on fluorine in water, first of all, you start destroying the enamel in the teeth.
Is that fluoride you're saying?
Fluoride. Yeah, fluoride. Fluorine, fluoride. It's F. It's all the way in the end of the
chart.
The chart.
Yeah.
That side of the chart, it's called halides, right? It's the most reactive. Chlorine is one of them.
Fluorine,
fluorine, all of them, right? So the deal with fluorine is this. It's reactive. It reacts with everything. Now, if of course you're not going to take pure fluorine because it would just melt your face off, right? But even the way that they do it in toothpaste is meant to remove the stains on your enamel.
Right.
The problem is prolonged exposure to fluorine will eventually erode your enamel. Right. But the one thing that fluorine does in water that most people don't want to talk about, your sperm count.
Yes.
Finished.
Oh man.
So it's mass sterilization is what that is.
Wow.
But it's amazing. It's amazing how I'm gonna because you guys talked a lot about a whole lot of things, and I just kind of let it go because it sounded really good.
Oh yeah. Well,
but
I'm only touching the surface.
You touched the surface.
I mean, when you think about the genocide, I mean, of all people, Black people should understand, this whole problem of genocide because of, as Alvin was talking about, the Tuskegee syphilis thing, where they let a sexually transmitted disease flow through a community. Even though they had penicillin, they did not let these people have it because they wanted to see how a sexual transmitted disease would infect a whole community.
Yeah.
And so you have what happened over there in, where do we have the General Conference session?
In
Louisville,
St. Louis.
Same thing. You got people that are suing the government because they had radioactive mist way back that affected and is killing people today. Some of the older ones that are still alive, they blew a radioactive material through a Black community and is killing people. Even today, many of them are still dead. I mean, have already died, but the ones that survived is still trying to sue the government for that experiment. And they confess, they acknowledge the fact that it was an experiment. You have what happened over there in Anniston, Alabama.
I was going to say that, Alabama.
Anniston, Alabama.
Yep.
They had toxic material. They built a whole community over that. Many people were infected and died from that. The same as in Niagara Falls with Griffin Manor, Love Canal. They did the same thing, built a community, a project over that. You have what happened with the Indians in the United States when they gave them blankets that was treated with smallpox, and it wiped out whole. It just goes on and on and on, and people are still very trusting. They are trusting, this wicked, demonic evilarchy that's running the world.
I was going to say this though, Pastor Green. So yes, they're trusting it because they don't know better, right? They don't know better.
But they don't have any excuse.
Knowledge is power.
Knowledge is power, right? That's the thing. Knowledge is power. And my people die for a lack of what?
Knowledge.
So because this is what that's killing them. We talked about these vaccines. We talked about autism. We talked about, and before you have mentioned sterilization.
Yeah.
Even
that's the big one, by the way.
Erectile dysfunction.
Yes.
Right. What else is happening with our Down syndrome? We don't even talk about Down syndrome as much anymore because autism
took it over.
Yes. And it's almost amazing because it's almost like we called it Down syndrome back then. I think they just changed the name to autism.
Absolutely.
That's what I think. I mean, it looks the same, right? How about the other one? Not autism. There's another term. It's only the highest scale of autism, and because they have these things scaled out.
Yeah, they actually call it the spectrum.
The spectrum.
That's the word. They call it the spectrum now. Because you could be here and all the way to the extreme, right?
Correct.
Yeah.
So you have you have something burgers, Asperger's, and autism and Down syndrome.
Supposedly Elon Musk, has not Down syndrome.
He has Asperger's.
His eyes are a little like that. He looks a little funny like that.
Right.
Yeah. So he even admits it. He's been diagnosed with it. So
Asperger's seems to be the top of the chain where you're the smartest and this.
You get like this genius level thing,
Correct.
but you're socially dysfunctional. You know what I mean? That kind of thing. Yeah.
That's right. Now watch this. Now.
Well, I would just like to say, why in the world would the Food and Drug Administration, knowing that aspartame is a carcinogen and practically all sodas that you buy, it has aspartame.
Yep.
Deadly.
Right.
By the way, the worst one is orange soda. That's benzene in there, baby
Correct.
boys. That's how you get it, orange. And if you study chemistry, benzene is horrible. It's the most lethal carcinogenic you can have. It's beyond toxic. I mean, it's cancer in a liquid.
Yeah, it is. Now, when you look at that, how bad then is the COVID-19 vaccine?
Oh man, this got everything in it.
You guys spat out a whole lot of different things. Right, but when you really when you take a look at it in perspective, in the spectrum of it all, right? And don't get me wrong, I'm asking a rhetorical question.
It's a great question, but keep going.
But how bad? Because
COVID seems like Mickey Mouse next to these other things. You know what I mean?
That's exactly where I'm going.
Yeah,
that's exactly where I'm going. The thing about it is, what they did was they made the COVID thing the grand of it all. Right? It's big in front of our face that we will forget all the other little things that is causing us death. It's like death by 1,000 cuts, where COVID vaccine is like death by one smack in the face.
Right. It was like one hit.
One hit, right? But then again, the death by 1,000 cuts, we use every single day without a thought. Fluoride. You just mentioned that.
Yeah.
Right? You just mentioned aspartame.
Lead
too. Lead. You guys mentioned all of it. I'm coming to that. Coming to that.
This gives you. This is like a female hormone in you,
bro.
We shouldn't be drinking out of these.
What?
Plastic bottles.
Oh yeah, plastic bottles.
Oh man,
it has the chemical polyethylene in there.
Yes,
it's like estrogen.
Yes, it is estrogen. But here it is.
That's why you're getting man boobs.
I'm getting to the next one.
We're doomed.
Everything is laced,
bro. I'm getting to the next one. Do you know that the amount of, and a lot of us eat tofu.
What?
Tofu drops with testosterone.
Man,
it has a lot of estrogen. That's why I stopped eating it.
That's why I don't eat tofu.
Listen, that's why
I don't like tofu.
Because I started getting man boobs. I had to do push-ups.
It just messed up everybody. It just messed up everybody.
All you vegetarians out there, all the men are going to get boobies.
Oh, no.
It messed up everybody.
Okay, never mind.
Everybody's messed up.
They're going to be running competition.
Everybody's messed up now. So the thing, listen.
You start doing some push-ups, man.
The thing is, though.
Stop eating tofu. Anyway,
the thing is, though, because I remember my dad had told me this. He says, man, because my dad went, he went vegetarian because my mom was like, you got to go vegetarian because you're healthy. He tried it. And then he goes, listen, man, this thing is, if this thing is going to take away my manhood without me cutting myself and go to the hospital, this is foolishness. I'm done with that.
Yep.
Right? Mm-hmm. I might as well just eat the meat because this is bad as well. So the point I'm trying to make is this. We
know the source of the meat, though.
We have to be able to take everything in temperance. That's the word.
Yeah,
temperance is the word. Not saying
moderation.
Moderation. We don't have to get no vaccine shot because I think the vaccines itself.
That's right.
And not just the vaccine, but prenatal care.
Yeah,
that's what they're calling it.
Well,
would they give the mothers
preventative?
No.
Prenatal.
Prenatal
you're right.
care.
Yeah,
is what they're giving the mothers.
Yeah, for pregnancies
why they're having pregnancy. Why they go through their pregnancy. Yeah. I believe that has a lot to do.
Oh yeah,
with these children coming out autistic.
Yeah. Oh, most definitely.
Because before I asked my mom this, I said, Mom, when you was pregnant with me, how much prenatal care did you have? She said 0.
Yeah, of course.
But it was natural.
Yeah.
We ate naturally. We did things naturally. Now, all of a sudden, they come up with all these prenatal cares. And these mothers, these young baby mothers, especially the young ones who are pregnant by 17, 18, 19 years old, don't know better.
Yeah.
And they're looking for those who are 17, 18, 19 years old because those are the ones.
Easy pickings.
Yeah. And the thing about it, when little babies are born in the United States, they're shot up with about anywhere from 5 to 7 vaccines. But in Japan, they do not vaccinate their children until their mind is developed. That's when they begin the vaccine program. But when your mind is still developing,
that's why they're the smartest country. One of the smartest countries.
And that's where we're becoming idiots here. So there you go. You know? So but can I add to this? So I always like to take things back in time.
Yeah.
Because you get it, people say, oh, the past is worse, the future is better. Pastor Green, you're a dinosaur. You shouldn't be saying anything. You're from the past, right?
I'm a relic of the past.
You're a relic of the past, a walking dinosaur.
They
right
don't
here.
listen to me.
They don't listen to him anymore, right? But the point I'm trying to make, there's wisdom in the past, right? So my question about prenatal care. So do you think that in Roman times or in the times in Judea, we have prenatal care?
No.
Oh, no.
Okay?
No.
Right?
Mm-mm.
So the human race still here. We're talking because we're all human. We're having a conversation right now. So out of our own folly, we should be extinct, right?
Correct.
Mm-hmm.
But humans have been procreating and making babies since the huts, right? We were like living in huts, living in the wilderness.
Since Adam.
And since Adam. We were naked in Eden. We cast out into the wilderness, and here we are, right?
But do
you need prenatal? I'm sorry, but do you need prenatal care? That's my point.
You don't need it. But the thing that really gets me is that they have absolutely duped the whole global population to believe that carbon dioxide
Here we go.
is bad.
Absolutely.
That is the stupidest thing I've ever heard in my life. The more carbon dioxide you have, the happier the trees are.
That's right.
Plant life grows like crazy when you have carbon, because they need that.
Yeah.
And then they produce oxygen for us. But now they got us believing that you have to do something, to regulate the cars, regulate the houses, regulate the cows, because they're breathing carbon dioxide. And so now they can find a way to come up with carbon tax. Now
money.
they're going to tax you for the amount of carbon put out by your cars, by your house,
And your
by
cows.
your cattle, taxing cattle.
That's right.
That is the stupidest thing I've ever heard in my life.
Pastor Green, what are you talking about? Look, CO2.
Oh, man, you got to be taxed.
CO2. Oh, I got to go to jail. What are you talking about? I got to go to jail.
You got to stop breathing.
Don't breathe. Don't drink.
But now you see,
right?
You gotta stop.
But now you see why God says, if I don't come in the time,
there would be no flesh.
No flesh will survive.
Absolutely.
Because look, this is what we're leading. This conversation is leading down to what Jesus said when he said that.
Absolutely.
This is what we're leading to. Because man, they're changing everything.
Absolutely.
The Bible says right here in Jeremiah chapter 17 and verse 7, it says, blessed is the man that trusteth in the Lord, and whose hope the Lord is, for he shall be a tree planted by the waters, and that spreadeth out her roots by the river, and shall not see when the heat cometh. But her leaf shall be green, and shall not be careful in the years of drought. Neither shall cease from yielding fruit. We got to put our trust in God.
Absolutely.
Man is failing us.
Amen to that.
But I guarantee somebody in his comments is going to say, oh, you guys are being a little extreme or whatever. Because you know what? We're so brainwashed and conditioned to put trust in man and men leadership instead of following, like he said, going back to there was no prenatal back in Adam's day, but all the way up until,
And we're here.
Yeah. And they were more healthy than we are. Today, we are feeble and sick. There's more disease today than any time in the history of mankind.
The thing about it is that even wicked people tell you what they're doing to you. All you got to do is just study the Bible. Because when you study the Bible, like Revelation 18:23 and Galatians 5:20, it uses the word pharmakia. You know what pharmakia means?
Pharmacy.
It means sorcery.
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 Pharmacy.
So the pharmaceutical industry is all about a demonic program that is killing people with all of these conventional means of healing, when really you should go natural.
Yep.
You don't need all of these concocted means of trying to, because all of that stuff they're pumping in your system is killing you.
I just want to jump in, because we go into real world biblical. So I'm going to go biblical to reflect the real world. So if you go back to Leviticus, again, the Bible is a survival guide. I'm the Old Testament guy here, so I'm just going to say it. It was written like that. So you want to live healthy? Follow Leviticus. Follow the Leviticus rules. That's it. And it's funny because if you look at Pastor Green, he's an older gentleman, right? I'm 54 years old. You wouldn't guess I'm 54 years old by meeting me face to face, right? Or this gentleman here, because we eat, good foods. I eat organic person. I eat meat. I'm a carnivore, Leviticus level. I got to know the source of the meat. So if it's some mass-produced crap you buy in the supermarket, I'm not going to touch that. I'm very picky about that sort of thing. So you want to live good. You want to have. You don't need as many medicines. I used to be a diabetic. I had hypertension. Genetically, I have hemochromatosis, a lot of iron in the blood, so I have to be bled. I can't help that one. But I got off a lot of the pills simply by eating better.
Absolutely.
Right?
The thing that really bothers me is that somebody told me, we know that duck, and I was just talking to you, Elvin, about duck.
Yeah.
Duck is very dangerous.
Ooh, very greasy.
But
dirty.
the number of, even within our circles, you'll be surprised how many Seventh-day Adventists think that duck is okay to eat.
It's not kosher. Duck is not kosher.
No, it's one of the unclean birds.
So are you saying if it walks like a duck?
If it quacks, it's a duck.
It's a duck.
That's right.
Listen,
Stay away from that duck.
All right, we only have about 13 minutes left, and I want to get to this because you all spoke about the pharmaceutical pharmakia, right? Back then it was called the witch doctor. Right, the witch doctor,
Bayer,
and
Monsanto merged.
You can call them to anyone, but these are the witch doctors of our time. Because back then, you called them the healing spirit. That's when they used to go back in the day. They'll go meet the healing spirit or the witch doctor, or today that's what they are. They give you these concoctions or these potions, saying that you will feel a lot better if you take it. So I want to touch on that right now. A little bit as we.
Well, let me just say this
before we go, because we only have.
We're talking about people, even in the little town of South Pittsburgh. You were talking about people with diabetes.
Yes.
It's like 99%.
People getting their legs cut off.
Yes.
And now all of a sudden, Seventh-day Adventists are not a bunch of witch doctors or because
we're herbalists.
Herbalists. Evil herbalists. Now they're beginning to understand that maybe we got a point there. Maybe there's something that we have to offer.
Help us.
That's right.
Help us. Those are the words.
Yeah.
Help us.
Now you see why the health message is the right arm of the gospel.
That's right.
Precisely for this very time.
Absolutely.
I wish you were there to see that. I was tearing up.
I can't believe it. I can't believe it. They came to you, to the car, right?
Yeah.
That's
asking, please help us. These medicines that we're taking is killing us.
She literally verbalized it. She made her own psychological leap that this stuff is not working.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Sorry.
Let's jump into this real quick, man, because we have about a few minutes left to go. So I want to get into this real fast and then react to this one, and then we're going to close it out pretty soon. I've got some scriptures I want.
The patient suffered from a rare spinal inflammatory disorder.
This disease interrupts the messages that the spinal cord nerves send throughout the body, and this can cause pain, muscle weakness, paralysis, sensory problems, or even a bladder and bowel dysfunction.
As soon as the trial resumed, I was in the first batch of people that got contacted to come in.
Dr. Robert Frank says today, for the first time, 7 children between the ages of 12 and 15 enrolled in the Pfizer vaccine trial and were given a first dose.
And first of all, I'd just like to thank you very much for volunteering for this trial, because without you, we never could do this very important research.
Knowing that a vaccine was coming, I was excited. I was like, okay, this is going to end it. I wanted to be the first in line.
Our kids actually came to us with it and said, hey, heard this at school. Some of my friends went ahead and signed up for it, and it looked good. We're pro-science, pro-health, we're educated people, and we want to help.
My name is Maddie DeGarry. I'm 13 years old. I used to do a lot of sports, but before I got sick, and yeah, I don't know what else to say.
So what are the possible known risks? First, as I mentioned, is the reactogenicity from the vaccine. What we have seen is that if people are going to get symptoms, they seem to have fatigue, headache, and fever.
The side effects were essentially the normal side effects from like a flu, having the flu.
If you think about when you had a bad cold and how you kind of feel like that for a day. And a lot of people said, well, why do you get those side effects? And I think about that really as showing that our body is responding well to the vaccine.
Right now I'm feeling pretty good, but even just a few minutes ago before I had a snack, I was like, holy cow, this does not feel right. But I don't know, I'm feeling a lot better now. My arm's just a little bit sore. Yeah, that's about it. My ears were ringing for a little bit. I had a little bit of a headache, but the snack fixed it.
It is a swing county. Trump won it last time. We expect it to be very close. This is what you can see. This is today's vote and what we're waiting on here, obviously.
Later that night, my vision went double, and it sounded like I had seashells on my ears. So sound had become distorted. And I remember looking at my husband and just saying, something's not right.
And starting to drop those results right now. It's because of the massive investment the Orange County.
It's until after the second shot that we really saw things get bad quickly.
So what's going on right now?
I'm shaking.
What's wrong with your arm?
There was electrical shocks going through her body. You couldn't touch her back.
Her fingers were white, they were ice cold, swollen.
I called the nurse line, told them what was going on, and they directed us to go to the ER.
I mean, it was the scariest thing I've ever seen, but I honestly, at that point, I'm like, okay, she's in a trial, they're gonna take care of her. Like, that's what happens, you know, things can happen, they will figure this out, she will be okay.
In the morning, the sensitivity to sound and light were still there. And that was the last day that I taught.
The first thing we did, because the contract said, you know, if you experience any problems, call the test clinic, right? I run her back up to the test clinic. They do an exam and they say, you might have MS. So you need to go to a neurologist and get that looked at.
They, you know, said, hey, you know, you're just reacting to the vaccine, this is normal. And they sent her home.
Maddie. Hey, babe.
Days and weeks had gone by after several trips to the emergency room. Well, now she started having syncope. She was passing out.
Breathe. Come on, Maddie. Maddie. Breathe, breathe, breathe. Okay. Breathe, breathe, breathe. Maddie!
I'm sorry.
It's okay.
I'm sorry.
I don't want to show any more of that.
That is so sad.
That is beyond sad.
Mm-hmm.
So, can I do a little science for the show? Just for
a little science?
A little science.
Are
Are you going to do a little, like I did on the other podcast where I explained?
Yeah, for sure.
You know,
Just don't
something
get in trouble.
about that mechanism. No. It'll just be, and anything I said, I'm just going to put it on the screen. You could Google it yourself and see my claim, okay? So, RNA, right? It's a molecule. It's not like DNA. It's like, instead of double stranded, it's a single strand, right? What does that mean? It's just a roll of proteins that go into a cell. And all RNA does is to manifest proteins.
Right.
That's really what it does. So the problem is that they took the dormant RNA of a virus, in this case a SARS virus, SARS-2, right? Kind of tweaked it a bit, so they claim, and used it to create a protein that will act as an antibody to fight a virus. But here's the problem.
Is that the RNA or is it the mRNA?
It's the mRNA is the messenger RNA.
Okay. The M is messenger.
It's really still RNA. It's just a specialized RNA for being transmitted. So you could pretty much pierce a cell, go in, use the cell's organelles to generate these proteins. That's really how it works. It's So, I mean, you go to any science class. You go to any science class in any high school. They explain this mechanism. It's known science, right? The problem is this messenger RNA, or this RNA that they took from let's say a defunct virus, goes into the cell, and now every cell in the body is producing this protein. In this case,
it reproduces.
Correct.
It becomes a factory.
The cell is a factory. You got to think of it like this: the RNA is more like a command. It's almost like I'm a computer software guy. It's almost like I wrote a command to execute something. The cell is like a little tiny computer, biological computer is what it is. Right. So the problem is this particular protein that it creates is called the spike protein. Okay. Now muscle cells are going to have it. The nerve cells are going to have it. So what happens? The immune system of the human body, which is also a machine, goes, oh, that protein looks very much like a SARS protein. I'm going to go kill that thing. Because the immune system is like my business.
Defense.
It's like I'm in cybersecurity. I write an anti-malware program. It's the anti-malware program of your body.
Exactly.
It wants to kill every time it sees a particular type of thing. In this case, that spike protein.
A threat.
Yeah, it's a threat. But where's that threat located? Well, it just went inside a nerve cell. It went inside a muscle cell. I'm going to go kill your muscle cells.
Right.
I'm going to go kill your nerve cells now.
Wow. Right.
Because I don't know. You look like SARS to me.
Exactly.
I'm just going to destroy you.
So basically, what you're saying is that they made something to go into your body to kill yourself. So your body can shut down based upon the fact that it has something in it that's a UFO.
So it's like a retrovirus? Kind of like AIDS?
No.
No?
They took the RNA, and the whole diagram is here if you don't mind. I'll give it to you. Sorry. So what happened is this RNA signal went into a cell. The cells are robotically stupid, for lack of a better word. They're not very sophisticated things. So these cells see, oh, I see this message. You want me to produce or manifest that protein? Okay. All cells can do it. Nerve cells, muscle cells. Cells are cells. They have a particular purpose, the skin cell, the muscle cells and all that. But in essence, they have a nucleus, they have a cell membrane. They have all the same basic parts, right? They just produce different proteins. But if you inject into the body, you're tricking the body. It's almost like you're hacking it to produce that protein.
Right.
All the cells are going to have that protein.
Right.
Well, you get the other cells called the immune system. Go, oh, that's cute.
Right.
I don't know that nerve cell, that muscle. I just see that protein. It's like a missile.
Right.
I'm just going to take you out. So what these people you were seeing in that video, what was going on, is that their cells, by some mistake, because it's a manufactured thing, we don't really understand how to manipulate these things as well as people think that we do. And said in some cases, say, you know what? That nerve cell that sits in your brain, that's where you get the lesions from the brain. I'm just going to go kill it. I'm going to kill those cells.
Right.
Can I give an example? Because the Lord just gave me an example to back up what Brother Alvin's saying. It's like sheep, right? You're the steward, because the steward protects the sheep. Or let's just say a guard dog.
Shepherd.
I'm sorry, a shepherd. Sorry. A shepherd protects the sheep. But let's just say it's a big guard dog, gigantic guard dog who just tears everything up to pieces immediately, right? So now the wolves come, which is the spike protein. He comes, so he's running to the wolf, but the wolf runs from the defense, jumps into the sheep. Now he has, the Bible says, wolf in sheep clothing. Now he's hiding himself under the sheep. So now you're like, I got to kill this whole thing because I still see a threat. But now you're killing your sheep now because the wolf then disguised itself and you don't know where it's at, but you got to kill everything because it's still a threat.
Yeah.
So like you said, you're tricking, it's tricking the body into believing that even though that's the thing that God created right there.
Right.
But
it doesn't know any better.
Yeah. Because now in the defender's mind, what God created, I got to get, all I see is I got to kill that threat.
Yeah.
And so you're killing the threat along with what God created. So you're killing both.
Yeah. When everybody was first being mandated, my brother, he lives in Detroit, and he called me up and he was trying to get my take on whether or not I should take it, and I told him it'll be a cold day in hell before I take that vaccine. He went ahead and took it, and then he went on and get the booster.
The booster, that's even more dangerous.
And now he can't even think. He is an electrician. He has a master's license. He used to design airplanes and things like that.
Wow.
Now he doesn't even know how to navigate on his phone. He's asking, well, what does this mean? What does that mean? He doesn't even know how to return my calls. It messed up his brain. And my sister took it. And unfortunately, she started having problems with her arms and her legs. And then they diagnosed her and said that she had a blood clot in her veins, in her legs, about that long. The blood was somehow coagulating in a way that... And people that are that do autopsies, people that work in the morgue, people that work as, diagnosing people and slicing them up to find out what is the cause, they find that this these long whatever it is, blood. I mean, they can pull them out of the veins. That long.
Yeah, man. They almost look like big parasites.
Yeah.
That's what it looked like, but and that's what's killing people, causing blood clots.
Absolutely.
And
And so now she has to be on blood thinners.
Yeah,
She has to be on blood thinners, and I'm telling you,
we gotta get going, gentlemen.
Yeah.
So, I just want to go back real quick on that. So anybody watching the show, you could Google spike protein. So you get to see, because people say, how is the vaccine affecting people? And it's because of the creation of that protein.
Yeah.
And in some cases, you're going to have an autoimmune response with the body. So basically, your immune system is doing its job as God intended to do. It just doesn't know that it's not a foreign object anymore. It's that you artificially sent an RNA signal to a cell to produce this little protein, and it turns regular cells into targets by the immune system.
Correct.
It's as simple as that.
Yep. Yeah. So it's friendly fire at this point.
Yeah, it's friendly fire because you put the target on yourself.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
And the thing about it, these people that manufactured that, the Wuhan thing, they're not stupid.
No.
They knew exactly what they were doing.
Again, the devil's in the...
How do you trace it back to what they're doing? Because it manifests itself in a stroke, in heart attacks, in other complications in their body. You can't put your finger and trace it back.
Right. We got to get going, guys. We have to shut down now because time is on our hands. So I know we have a lot to say. We may have to do a part 2 to this.
I think we should.
Okay, because there's a lot to it, man. So we're gonna, because we cut, time is of the essence. We're gonna go ahead and pause here. But what I want to say is this, though. We started off by talking about Rome is behind all of this, right? And the Bible says in Daniel chapter 8, verses 18, the Bible says, "Now as he was speaking with me, I was in deep sleep on my face toward the ground. But he touched me and set me upright. And he said, Behold, I will make thee know what shall be at the last end of the indignation. For at that time, or at the time appointed, the end shall be. The ram which you saw having 2 horns are the kings of Medes and Persia. And the rough goat is the king of Greece. And the great horn that is between his eyes is the first king." We know that. The king of Greece is Alexander, right? Now that being broken, Alexander dies, whereas four stood up for it. 4 kingdoms came out of Greece.
Ptolemy, Cassander, Lysimachus, and Seleucus.
There you go. Those are the 4 kingdoms that came out of Greece, right? But not in Alexander's power. And in the latter time of their kingdom, when the transgressors are to come to full, a king of fierce countenance and understanding dark sentences shall stand up. And we all know that.
That's
king,
the beginning.
That's the beginning of whom?
The Antichrist.
Rome.
Yes.
Right?
The little horn.
The little horn.
The little horn, yeah.
There you go. That says, that understands dark sentences of fierce continents. This is a different type.
Yeah.
This one is going to be beyond the beyond, right? Yeah. So now that we have that understanding, we're going to move on now. We're going to have to do a part 2 to this.
Well, I would just like to say then Rome never died.
No, never
because
Roma Eterna.
pagan Rome transitioned into papal
Correct.
Rome.
Correct. Which is the one speaking dark sentences.
Because both of them is spoken of as a little horn.
There you go. So that's where we're going to continue on coming back to this again, because I believe that when we show the world that who's behind this power, I mean, come on now, you can see that they're trying to get rid of people.
Yeah.
Right? And what you explained,
King of the South.
Yeah.
Is just exactly what that is. That, that it's designed to break our system down of its own, that we are destroying ourselves. So we're going to get back to that.
And I would just like to say, and even today, the Roman Catholic Church refers to themselves as the Holy Roman Empire.
That's it.
Never died.
Never died. Never died. The Holy See, the Vatican, and the Holy Roman Empire. Never died.
They always said in Latin, Roma Eterna, which means Rome forever.
Rome forever. Yeah. There you go. There you go. Well, let's go ahead and close this out, man. I really appreciate you guys coming. We have a lot to get to today, so I want to get done. I know, Pastor Green, you got to get going.
Got to get out of here.
You got to get out of
I'm
here.
gonna be
We have to run to Poston. I got to run over there too for a few minutes, and then we're gonna get out of here, man. Alvin, thanks for coming up with us, man, and hanging out. We're gonna do a part 2 to this. So you have to be
Praise the Lord.
Praise the Lord. Before you head for Europe.
Yeah, for the Holy Roman Empire.
Yes. Brother Jamal, my boy, thanks a lot for coming, man. Appreciate you guys. Let's go ahead. Brothers and sisters, have a good night. We'll see you guys on the next one. God bless y'all.
Amen.